Peace, Instructor Yasir back again with your reality-based self-defense tip number 4. This is going to be a quick one. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. Strike. That is your reality-based self-defense tip number 4. Strike. Just remember ETG, which stands for eyes, throat, groin. ETG. These will be the most vulnerable areas on just about any human. You strike those as hard as you can, and you can be pretty sure they'll let you go. You can also clap the ears to bust the eardrum, kick the knee, shin, or stomp the foot. These are all options. This is a continuation of the last self-defense tip, which was waste no time, act quickly. Strike them, get them up off of you. Elbows, excellent for striking. Knees, great for striking. With the knees, be careful because once you go up on one leg, your balance is compromised. So be cognizant of that. But elbows are great. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not a doctor or anything, but if I'm not mistaken, the hardest bones on the human body are the elbows and the skull. And I want to say the knee too, but I might be off with that because, the knee is, the knee, has, small joints wrapped up in it that, can easily be twisted. But I want to say as far as the hardest bones in the body are the elbows, knees, and the skull. But don't quote me on that one. But I do know that those are excellent striking weapons. You've got some systems and styles out there that actually strike with the head, with the skull. And that's a striking tool. I don't have training with that. That's not to say that I would never use it. But I haven't trained in a system that has taught me the proper way to do that. So I can't say that that's something that I would implement if I was caught up in a situation right now, today. But definitely elbows, knees, palm heel strikes. Palm heel strikes, I would recommend a palm heel strike over a closed fist for most people. Because the reality is that if you're going to strike somebody with your fist, if you're not training that fist for impact, you're gonna end up breaking your own hand. If you're not, punching on a certain, on hard surfaces, and in kung fu. When I was training Southern Praying Mantis Kung Fu, that was one of the best pieces of that system was the body conditioning. And I still implement a lot of those things today in my own training. So the striking the hard surfaces, you fill up a bag with mung beans and you beat on that, you punch that all the way, traditionally, you're supposed to beat on that bag of mung beans until it breaks down into powder. Then you're supposed to move on, to your next surface. It's supposed to be rock next. So after that, you're supposed to go to rock. Then you're supposed to beat on that rock till it, breaks down, till it starts breaking down into powder. And then after that, you're supposed to go to shot, which is basically those metal, steel BBs. So, look, we don't live in times where people can just dedicate hours on end every day to training like that. Take that with a grain of salt, but the premise is still the same. Make sure that if you're going to be striking with a fist, really, if you're going to be striking, period, let's make that clear. You should, if you're going to be striking, period, you're going to use any of your body as a weapon, you should be training it for impact. You should be building it up so that it can take and give blows, building up the cartilage, strengthening the tendons, all those things. Because people who never punched anything before, you can end up punching somebody and now you end up spraining your wrist just because it's not used to taking that type of impact. You see, so if you're training over time, over the years, so you build that up. See, this is how you start to formulate your body as a weapon, is by doing this type of training. So, yes. So yeah, I'm going to say implement that, implement striking hard surfaces on a regular basis. Dit Dao Jiao. Dit Dao Jiao. This is a part of Eastern medicine. It's a lot of this in Kung Fu. My Kung Fu instructor, shout out, and peace and blessings to my teacher, Sifu Wilbur Rhymes, out of Chicago area. So he make his own Jiao, and when we would go over there and train, when we were going to be doing our striking work and conditioning, we was doing our conditioning work, we would put on the Jiao. We would put on the Jiao over the arms, over your fists, over your knuckles, and you get to business. You know what I'm saying? You start, punching on that bag full of mung beans as hard as you can, right? As hard as you can take. You're gonna open up your knuckles a little bit. Hey, you know what I'm saying? That's a part of the training. So, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, my message is always gonna be training. Cause that's the key. Like, that's what it is. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people that are going to be listening to this podcast who are not training like that and don't have a background in that. And you might be looking for the quick fix to becoming the human weapon. It doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. There's no quick fix to becoming a human weapon, to becoming capable of defending yourself and your family without training on a regular basis. You got to do that. No matter what type of weapon you choose to employ. If you are going to be using your body, then you want to be doing these things I'm talking about on this episode, about building your body up for contact, striking hard surfaces, taking that contact and giving it, right? If your main weapon is going to be your firearm, you got to train that. You got to train that. You got to go to the range. I just came from the range today. Matter of fact, I had a student I was working with, worked with them for about 45 minutes. And then after they left, I stayed and got my work in, and I was much better this week than I was last week. Last week, I was a little bit disgusted at my shooting, I was like, nah, this is not going to work. So this week I did much better. A lot of shots on center mass, a lot of shots on center mass. With my carry gun, and my carry gun, is smaller than your full size. You got your, your micro, your subcompact, and I had a lot of shots on center today, so felt good. And training, man, training. So I'm gonna beat that. I'm gonna beat that in your head. Hopefully, you hear my voice at night saying like, "Man, Yasir is telling me I gotta train." Yes, absolutely. You got to train. Train your body, train your mind, train your firearm skills, train, your fitness. This is all this is training. Absolutely. So that's your self-defense tip for today. Reality-based self-defense tip number 4, striking. Strike. Don't waste time. And when in doubt, train. Peace.